Hi guys, I just did something I didn't mean to do. I closed down a program that we were going to use today. Oh well, we'll bring it back up when it comes time for that. I hope everybody's doing okay. Give me a heads up, thumbs up. You can hear me. You can see what we're doing today. Let me know where you're from. Your neighbor may be stitching right next to you. Hey, Tana. Gosh, I swear, one of these days I'll get that name right. It's killing me. So I see one thumbs up. Hi, Vera. Hi, Robin. You're in Florida today. Hi. Hi, Karen. I saw you're in South Carolina today. And Caroline from Texas. Margaret from Parkland, Florida. Hi, Tamara. Hi, Judy from Surprise, Arizona. I just love the name of that, your town. I'm telling you, I think I should move there, even though I think it would be too hot for me in Arizona. I don't like the heat. Don't matter if it's dry heat or not. I don't like heat. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Doris. I'm a 70-degree kind of girl. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Tina. Good to see you guys. Hi, Amanda from Minnesota. It's not warm your way this week because we're cool. If we're cool, you guys are really cool. Hi, April. You're watching from Australia, April. Hi, Teresa. Good to see you from Colorado Springs. You all are a little chilly too. So, all right. Today we're going to talk about motif stitches. Motif stitches are generally light stitches. They are open, airy stitches. They are not dense unless you create them to be dense. And you can create them to be dense if you want to, but you don't have to. I mean, it all depends on what you want, what you've got planned. It's up to you. You can modify the ones that are built in the software. You can create your own. Today, I'll bring one in and we can modify one, and then I'll bring in a piece of artwork and we can create one. So you can kind of get an idea how it works. It's like creating string art. If you've ever tried to take a piece of string and make it into one thing, that's what you have to do with a motif. The string has to start at one side and the design itself ends from the other. So it's all made from one piece, one line. So you have to map it and figure out how you can get around your shape with one line. And that's what we're going to do today. So it's kind of fun. It gets a little therapeutic. You start adding little clicks and you're going to have fun with it. So let's go. To get to the Programmable Stitch Creator, you are going to open your layout and editing, and you'll go up to the options pull-down menu and choose Programmable Stitch Creator. So we've been in here before. We've created a decorative fill stitch in here. We're going to create a motif stitch today, though. So whatever you did last is what's going to load. Last time, I think we did a decorative fill. So today we're going to say create new motif pattern. And as you'll notice, I've got a blue square and a red square. Blue is where the design is going to start. Red is where it's finished. And that's a single line. So we have to create it from a single line. Now, I said we would first start with editing one that's built in. So let's open one. So let's go up here and say open. And you'll notice that if it's a motif, it'll say motif 00 whatever. So let's see here. What have we got? Let's just come down through here and play. I didn't plan this one out today. So let's see here. How about that guy right there? You'll notice it has little squares where it's going to travel. If you want to adjust the shape, you click on the square and you move it where you want it to go. Now, I would suggest before making any changes, you come up here and you do File, Save As, and save this motif stitch as, put an A in front of it or something so you'll know it's yours, that you've modified it. And if an A is in front of it, it will automatically pop to the top of the list. Okay. So let's say we wanted to adjust this one and make it to where we have another one of these squares going up in this corner. You'll notice how I'm having to make it out of the string that's already there. So, and that's really what you're doing. You want to make sure that you map it to where it goes across the same area. So let's look at that. If we go to our View tab and we touch the Preview window, you all can see my preview, but I don't know where it went on my screen. So let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. There's my preview window. It got hidden on me. Let me bring StreamYard back up. There we go. All right, so here's our preview of what we've got that's going to stitch right now. Not so pretty because I've got a little line going right there. And you'll note that preview is really important. You want to make sure that you pull that up. So now you can see how it's going to actually stitch. If you wanted one on the opposite side added, you could do the same thing. You just have to pay attention to where your cross is going. And we want that one to go back to the middle. Each time you click on the line, it will add you a little square and you move it to where you want it to go. So to make this one go from one piece of string, we're basically adapting it, and you'll notice I've got one little line hanging up here up top that I don't want and one down here that I don't want. That preview window, as you can tell, is showing me exactly what I'm going to get, and I can delete that little point right there. So we've modified that fill stitch, that motif stitch. Let's save that. My camera is out of focus. Let me see what's happening here. I'm on high definition, so I don't know what's going on today. That's the best I can do, gang. You can choose what default size you want it. So at default size is how big do you want that motif to come in? I'm going to change that to 10. The default is 5. I'm changing it to 10. So now let's go back to layout and editing, and let's see what we can use that for. So if we go into our shapes menu and go to, let's say we want to do it in a circle. I'm just going to draw myself a circle. It'll automatically be selected, and let's come down here and choose a motif stitch. So the default motif stitch is the first one on the list that is built into the program. Let's click on it and let's choose, there's my A motif. Oh, actually it saved it as A. There we go. That is the motif stitch that I just created. So if we watch it stitch, you'll see how it paths itself around to travel at the, what am I trying to say, with the least amount of jump stitches possible. And that's how you modify a motif stitch, okay? There is one built into the program that is kind of a, what am I trying to say? It's kind of a solid. And it looks like a scallop. So there. That one right there is one that's kind of fun to play with. But if I make that one bigger, so let's maintain aspect ratio here and let's make that one bigger. As I make that one bigger, its stitches spread further apart. So if you wanted to go in and adjust that one, let's go back over. What number was that? That was number 72. Okay, so let's come back over here and let's open up motif number 72. There we go. So let's think about this. You know that you're going to be doing it at a larger size, so you don't want your stitches spaced out quite as far. What you can do for this one is you can start sliding those pieces over and make them closer together. Add one in between. You want to keep in mind that you need to adjust how deep it goes. And you'll notice I can't really do that right now because those two would end up in the same spot. That's because the size of my grid. If I shorten that size of my grid, then that will help me out some. So let's see if we can zoom in on this. That's a new feature, by the way. Being able to zoom in is a wonderful little thing. So now we can come in and we can adjust and move them to where they actually step. And that gives you that option to where you can keep them somewhat in a range. So let's zoom out a little bit again and grab our select point tool. And you can just come in here and move and add. So let's say we want to add some more. I'm going to make those shorter. I'm going to step them up like one at a time. What did I forget to do? I forgot to save it as an A72, but that's okay. I'll try not to forget that. And if I do, I can pull it out of P-Design version 10 because this motif has been in there for quite a while. But notice how this is going to make it denser, and you can see how much denser it's going to make it over there in your preview. And I'm just going up one grid square at a time. Looks like reading an EKG. That's funny. Let's see here. Evidently, I decided to get too excited here, and I'm having to add too many in it. But you'll get the concept. Y'all get the concept here? Because we don't really want to sit here and watch me do this all day long, do you? I should not have made my grid quite so small. All right, so I'm going to go 2 over each time now. We're going to kind of modify this to where we can go a little faster. But you can tell the difference in just what I've done. So by varying this, this will give you an idea what will happen, depending on what choices you make. Come on. Yeah, and it is therapeutic because you're just sitting here clicking back and forth. It does not take that much effort. All right, guys, I'm going to stop it at this point because I think you get the idea. We'll take it in with half of it revamped in 2 different manners. So this also gives you an idea how much the change of the grid squares, how many you choose going apart, will make a difference. And at where I want that one to tip, I would actually make that be equal on those 2 center points. All right, so I'm going to do a save as. And we'll just choose A72 here. All right, so now let's go back over so you can see what we've got going on. If we go to A72, you can see, well, that's an interesting looking one. What it comes in at, that is at the default size of 7.5. Let's see if we make this one bigger, what it looks like. So you can tell how much more dense mine get there. And it will automatically split the satin if it is too long for it. Okay, so that little ridge right there in the middle, that's how it's splitting that satin, because that must be longer than 10 millimeters. Nope, it's 6.4, but it decided it needed to split that satin. So you can see what it's doing there. All right, so that's how you play with the ones that are built in. That's actually kind of neat. Let's go make one from scratch. Any questions so far? Let me come look up here. Nope, no questions, it doesn't look like. So let's go get and bring in a piece of artwork. And you got to think about what you're doing here, guys. So I'm going to choose New Motif. I'm going to go to my View tab, and I'm going to open up a template. This gives me something to draw around. You want to think about, let's go with extra large icons so y'all can see them. You want to think about the shape. Let's look at these and see. Could I do this crown? I could do the exterior of the crown, but I would not be able to do the middles of it. Same thing with scissors. I could do the basic scissor outline, but I would not be able to do the centers. Same thing with the rocket. The flames coming out of the back end of the rocket would have to be part of the rocket itself. You could do the basic outline of the whale. If you look in Baby Day, I'm just in the clip art that's in the software. So if you want to know where that is, that's under Program Files, x86. Brother, let's see here. Let me show you where I went. C drive, Program Files, x86, Brother, PE Design 11, clip art. This is where your clip art that's built into the program lives. You can bring any clip art that you want, any shape that you've scanned, anything that you find, but you have to think about, is this a good fit for what I'm trying to do? My motorcycle riding bear, not a good option. My cat, the basic outline, yes. The inner parts, not a great option because it wouldn't stitch very well. So think in terms of whole object, not the little bitty pieces parts when you're when you're working for a motif. Let's pick Southwest today, because I want to show you how to do a rounded shape. We can do the lizard, or the pepper, or the frog. Let's do the pepper. It's got both a combo of round and a little bit of straights, and I'm going to make it bigger, my artwork bigger, just by pulling. This does nothing to your design. It's just our artwork. And if it extends beyond, not a big deal as far as artwork goes. If you want to make curves, you must go with no grid. If you have a grid on, your line is going to snap to that grid. It automatically does it. It does not matter what you do. If I come in and I click my select point tool and I add a square right here, notice how it snaps to the grid. I'm trying to go in the middle of it. It will not let me. It's going to snap to the grid. So in order to do a curved shape, you must take your grid all the way to off. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Grid. I faded out my template too far. So this, on your View tab, this is your template lightener, I guess, density of your image behind it. I find it easiest to work with is if I go light, depending on if it's colored or not. That is up to you. This is your grid. As you go up, it increases the size. As you go down, when you go all the way down, you have no grid. All right. We're going to start on the left side, the blue side. That's your start point. The red side is your end point. So you click on the line to insert a point. And the first thing you want to do is decide which is going to be the easiest side for me to double over. Is it going to be this one, or is it going to be this one? Because at some point, since you're making it out of one piece of string, you have to go back over the shape in order for it to travel from beginning to end. Darla, I'm using PE Design 11. We are working in the Motif Stitch Creator today. So I personally would rather go over the bottom than over the top twice. So let's click on the line to add a point. and let's drag it where we want it to go. And in order to make the shape, you may have to add more points than you are used to using. But you click on the line and drag it up as you're making it. So now I do need to do the center of this one, and that's doable because it's not too much for this guy. I'm going to go around the outside first. I'm not going to worry too much about my stem. And if you need to zoom in, you can certainly zoom in because that is now a new feature and I am in love. I just realized we got that this time around. I've asked for that for probably 15 years. And I finally got it. That's a very nice thing. So if you go to your home tab and you want to zoom in, you can come to grab the zoom tool and zoom in. I tend to get too excited sometimes when I zoom in because then I might try to make it fit that outline perfectly. And since it's a JPEG or a bitmap, it is going to have jagged areas and that's not going to be optimal. So I'm going to have to go around this bottom part twice. By that I mean I have to go around it the first time, but in order to make it my way back to my exit, I have to go right back over the top of my previous point. Boy, this is much easier to get these laying on top of each other in a zoom mode. Now, you'll notice I didn't get on top right there. So my arrow keys on my keyboard let me move it by slight increments to see if I can't get right on top of it. And if not, then take it and move it a little bit. Okay, so now I'm ready to continue on around. Any questions so far? Nothing special at my corner position. I'm not sure what you're asking me about the corner position. Elaborate on that one for me, Karen. I evidently added 2 little points right there. That's okay. Come on, let me have you. So we're just, as you can see, I'm just left clicking and dragging this in. You always click to the right because that's where the end of your string is. All right, so now we have to go in all the way over to here, and then we're going to have to back our way out so that we can finish our shape. Like I said, if we just went around the outside and didn't bother with the chili leaves here, that would be fine as well. I'm just trying to show you your variables as to how things work. So now I sometimes find it easier just to drag the whole kit and caboodle over. Now I know I have 2 pieces of string, and that makes me aware of what I have to do. So I'll fit one around. And you can come in and do them one at a time, or you can do like I'm doing and kind of add them together at the same time. That is up to you. I think I'm going to leave one string out here waiting on us, and we'll just do this one first. That way we know we have that second piece. Do I have questions? I'm on page 304 in your user's manual, huh? All right, so there we go. Now I'm going to fit this one back over the top. And guys, don't get too obsessed over this, because if you look at this, this is your preview window over here. And if you look, you can see what it's going to sew like. So don't get obsessive by saying, oh, you didn't put enough points in there. Remember, this, unless you're making this at 100 millimeters in size, you're going to be pretty good to go. My mouse is being ornery today. I'm not sure what page it is in my software manual, but if you look at creating a motif stitch in your table of contents, it will take you right there. I'd have to go look that up, which we can do. We can actually do that on my website, can't we? So I'm about done with this part. I know this is like watching paint dry here, guys, but it is a process. And unfortunately, you have to do the process if you want to create your own. Now, there's tons of them built in. You don't have to create your own, but this is when it gets fun, because let's say you were doing a design that was a special design, and you had this idea of what you could do as an fill around the outside area of it. You can make your own and do it. All right, so now we need to take, I'm going to take this down here just a little bit and take this line all the way across, because this will give me my 2 lines that I know I have to meet back up. Do you understand why I'm saying that? If we look at the whole thing, I've got, let me undo those last few things. All right, so you see how if I were to finish this right now, it's just going to go straight off to that area. What I did instead was I took that point. I can either keep clicking around and adding them in and then coming back around, or I can just take my little line over there. That tells me I can see that line going through the middle of it. I usually pull it first. That way I don't make the mistake of forgetting that it's there. And the reason you have to go back over the top of one is because it all is created from one line. You don't have the option of drawing the line yourself. It is one line. It starts on the left side and finishes on the right side. And that's just the way this program works. In order to travel it back, unless you want a line going across the middle of your chili, then you have to take it one line going back over the top of the other. That's just the way it works. All right, so I'm about back to where I want it to be here. There we go. Now, this line, you can see if I don't go back and make this one go across, that line would stitch across the top. So you have to be able to figure that out. So you have to help pack the dorm. You've got a graduate, do you? Or do you have somebody coming home for the summer? And if I'm, yeah, the apple may be easier. Probably should have picked the apple today. It's faster. But regardless, it's the same process. You just have to pick something. I picked something round today so that you guys could see how you turn off the grid, how you actually get around something, and something that has to be traveled back over the top of. But you have to pick the easiest side to go back across the top of. And you can see I pretty much picked the easier one that I thought would be easier. There we go. So now I'm all the way around. I've got my chili. If I wanted to, I could go in here and refine this a bit, which I normally would, just to make sure that my edit points are on top of each other so that I don't have any heavy lines. We're going to go File, Save As, and we'll save this one as a chili. I'm going to make it come in at 10 millimeters just because, and save. It will stitch twice wherever you've gone over the top of it. Okay, so if I come here and let's select our circle, let's come in and find our pattern. Here's my A chili. There you go. You can make it bigger. You can make it smaller. It can go up to 100 millimeters. So if I put it in at 100, you're going to get one chili pepper. If you put it in at 50, you get more. If you put it in at 20, that's probably about optimal for this one. You can notice what happens. Now, I want to show you something else. You notice the large space between them. Yes, it's the same as it is in P Design 10 and Next as well. So let's say you don't want that space to be as much between them. That red beginning point and that red ending, the blue beginning point and the red ending point can be adjusted. And you'll notice how it's making them closer together. They're basically attached. So if I do File, Save, I didn't do a Save As because I'm just going over the top of this one. I have to pick it up again. And let's put it back in at 20 millimeters. But you'll notice they are now tighter together. So that's how you get that in. All right, Karen, can I stagger the ropes? Yes, I can. Let's see here. If I want, what do I want it to do? I can make one up, one down. I can make them all upside down. They can all be right side up. You can make them go to the left. You can make them go to the right. You can make them alternate left and right. You can do, let's see here, what am I looking for? You can do an offset. So if I change the vertical offset, is that what I want? Is it horizontal? Let's see. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Let's say I want to do this. We'll do the same pattern in a second row. So I've got pattern 1 and pattern 2. Let's make this one 20 as well. And we need to say pattern 1 and 2. Oops, maintain aspect ratio. There we go. So if I want those staggered, what I would need to do is offset the second row. Notice how now they're offset. All right, so let me come back here and see. Judy, you need to crack that bad boy open. You know, normally I have, there's lots of good information in there. I mean, I know it's a huge book because it's a picture book. So you got to remember that there are intermediate steps for everything, and there's a picture for every step as much as I can do. Can I delete the line in between? That has to stay, okay? So the reason is they have to be connected. I can get them closer together still. So what we would be able to do is, let's go back over and look. Let's go back to our motif stitch here, and let's get that line shorter still. But you have to have a way for them to touch. Now, if I wanted to, I could have taken this line and moved it to where they connected at the top. That would be my closest way of doing it. But at a certain point, my motifs are going to overlap if I'm not. See how my motif there is getting to where it's overlapping? So it needs to be just a little bit further apart. There you go. You can minimize it, but they have to be able to travel. So when you get back over here, let's pick that motif again. Let's make it back at 20. Let's pick the second one, or the first one, I guess. So each time you change it, you have to go pick it again. Oh, that one was already picked. There we go. So put that one back at 20. So you can see how that definitely changes things. We can make that offset a little bit more this time. And you can also change the angle of them. So they don't have to go straight across. You can make them go vertical, horizontal. Boy, that's a little nauseating. There is a new way to do this also. You have a manual curve. And if you go to your select point tool, that manual curve, this is new for 11, allows you to adjust how those go in and out. So you can kind of get a little bit more of a fun thing with it, okay? No, I couldn't really get them going stem to stem. We can look at that, but I don't think we can do that. The other way, let me change this back up to, let's go manual straight line again, and let me go back to pattern 1 only. Row offset, Karen, was the other way. If you do your row offset, instead of adding that second pattern in, I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. That lets you offset them as well. Okay, so let's go back over here. You're wanting to know if we can make this go all the way up to the top. That's as tight as those two can get together, so that wouldn't be optimal. They basically are stuck with each other, just so you know. So if I pull one up, the other one's going to go up with it, but they go up. You can only get them a certain distance together. So just kind of keep that in mind, that they are somewhat attached. I can take them further up, but I can't really get them all the way together. I could have gone leaf to leaf. That would have worked. So if I wanted to go, if I knew I wanted to make it leaf to leaf, let's just add our points in here and make it go leaf to leaf. I probably would have started it at a different point than what I did here, but you'll get the concept here. Oop. But good questions today, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's all ladies today. All right, we're about there. I'm going to move this out so we can see it. One gigantic piece of string that you're playing with. So there you go. Now you want to see what that one looks with? Let's go up, File, Save As. Let's see here. Chili 2. All right, come over here. Let's grab a Chili 2. Oh, wow, that's a little psychedelic. There you go. So now if we come and do our select tool, let's watch them stitch. They will map themselves. to where they can make the way around with the least amount of jumps, as I said. Okay. All right, let's come here. Yes, I actually put one back in every spot. Otherwise, if you're rounding a curve, let me see if I can explain that to you. If you're rounding a curve and you skip a node, then you're going to have a flat spot. So I do go back and make sure that I click back over the top of each and every one. If you knew you wanted them to start at the leaves, I would have started creating there, so I wouldn't have to go back around quite as much, but you still would have a lot of going around. So just saying. And that's really how you do, that's how they are applied in layout and editing. Now you want to see how they're applied in Design Center. Same way, we'll do the same one. Let's go up to Option, Design Center. And let's just open an image file. What have we got in our tutorial files? I have no, let me just go to where I know Smart Work is. x86, Brother, 11, clip art. So let's say we go back into Southwest, and let's say we wanted to put chili peppers in a chili pepper. All we need is the outline, so we're going to zoom in and grab the black line, turn off the red if you happen to catch it. Go to Figure Handle, and we're going to act like that's a beautiful pepper. So now I'm going to go apply my stitches. From the Fill Stitch pull-down menu, choose a Motif Stitch. Click in the area to apply it. If you look at it in Realistic Preview, there's your Motif Stitch. If you want to change the Motif Stitch, if you right mouse click on the design area, it will bring up your properties. And once again, pick your chili, maintain your aspect ratio, and put in how big you want it to be. And then click back on the area to apply it. So if we look at it in Realistic Preview, there's your chili peppers in your chili. That one's pretty simple. It's when you're done with the area, when you're done with filling it, let's choose a fill stitch here and make this green. Let's send it to Layout and Editing, import that pattern, and there you go. That's what you've got. You have to remember, one of the things that I want you to keep in mind with Motif Stitches is that whatever it's being stitched on is going to show through. It is not a solid fill area. It is just a line. So it's a great way to get texture. Sometimes I will bring in the design as a fill, copy and paste it, and put the motif over the top of it to give it some more texture, more definition. So let's see here if I can show you that trick. Let's copy this and paste. We're just going to paste. And I'll move it to the beginning, and let's make this a solid fill stitch. And we'll make it the color of red. Well, I'm in Paste Setter Pro. Let me go back to Brother Thread. There we go. All right, we'll make that one red. So now you can see my red underneath my chili pepper. So what if I wanted my chili peppers to be green? Let's change my color back. Boy, how did I get in that? I must have been playing. So here comes my green chili peppers. That gives you that option to play. I don't want an outline on that first chili pepper. So let's turn that one off. Donna, yes. If you had them the small size, it would work well for a Mylar application. If you have them in a big size, it's not going to be enough to keep the Mylar underneath it. So it just depends on what you're doing. Now, a fun thing to do would be to do the foil application. If you have the heat transfer There's a heat transfer substrate that you can use. It's a double-sided adhesive, basically. You cut that out, leave the carrier sheet on it, take it over and transfer it. So you're cutting it face down, and that means you mirror things, and then you put it down. After you heat it to it, you put your foil on top of it, press the heat to it again, and then that gives you another different substrate from underneath it. So you could play with that. If you're making run the motifs in a square around the quilt, yes, sure would. Other things that you can do in layout and editing, Carolyn, if it's tiny, it would work. You would have to go with a tiny size for knockdown. Knockdown has to be close together for the nap to stay down. So if you didn't, for a knockdown stitch, that first one that I did, if you made it at its default size instead of going bigger like I did, would work great as a knockdown stitch. Let me see here. What else was I going to say? Oh, what else can you do with a motif? You don't just have to do it around the outside edge. So around the fill. You could do it as a outline as well. So let me turn this off and turn this to a motif stitch. So if you wanted chili peppers going around the outside of a shape, you can set your chili peppers to go around the outside of the shape. Now you'll notice those chili peppers are the ones that we have where we changed our attachment spot to the top. And so you'll notice where they attach there is at the leaves. If you want them to attach more in the center, our first one would have been a better option. Let's make it 20 again. So you can see how those attach in the middle. That gives it a more even distribution around the outside edge of your area. Yes, Judy, great use of the motif stitches is to create your own crazy quilt blocks with them. And that way they're unique to what you've done. You just put your basic shapes in your lines in there. Motifs are fun. They're one of my favorite things to play with. I haven't even hit the half of it today. Let's take something else that we could do. If you have, let's do a circle and let's put a piping stitch in it. Where's my piping stitch? There we go. I'm going to turn off my outline and let's make this piping stitch less dense. So we're going to go way down in density. Way down in density. Y'all see this little button saying use motif? That'll put a motif stitch along your area. And that's quite fun to do. Once again, you could have them going every other one going a direction. Boy, that's nauseating. But you can have them upside down, right side up, flipping around. You guys are in control of this as to what you want it to do. Let me undo that. I see a question, so let me go back to Not Sewn here and put my motif stitch back on here. So Tana says, can I flip them around the circle? Yes. Let's see here. So right now, they're this way. You do have to be in expert mode to see this. You can have them alternating, one up, one down. You can have them all outside. You can have them inside facing each other. You can have them upside down and facing each other. Nesting. So you can have a lot of fun with these guys. Just play with them. Okay, guys. Any other questions? A chili melon. Okay. Yeah. There's lots of fun that you can do with them. You can put them on stippling. If we come back over here to this and change it to a stippling stitch for the fill, let's turn off my outline of motif so that we're not getting real excited there. Let's change our spacing to where it's loosey-goosey. Oh, that's way too loosey-goosey, though. We do need it. You do need at least to have a spacing. There we go. Okay. Button, use motif. Now, this does have to be, you really have to pay attention to motifs when you use them this way because they can get too angular. And you probably want to space them further apart. So depending on how they were put together, depends on how well, notice how that one doesn't do so well. You do have to pay attention to the motif itself to see which ones are going to work. The ones that tend to go like this tend to work better. So usually if they're side to side, those tend to work better. This right here would not be a good option. Oh, I lied. That's not too bad. Actually, that's kind of cool. Those look like little bows. You just have to play and see. That one, I'm assuming. Oh, wow. Guys, I'm having fun playing today. That actually is very cool. So y'all can, I mean, just sit there and play. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. What kind of buttons when you push a button and you change out, it kind of plays. I mean, I would have never thought that gridded one that we did first of all would come out. So Sharon, are you talking about when the private group is having it? That would be next week. Not that doesn't happen this week. That happens next week. Oh, wow. We may not do that. My dad's coming in. Yeah, we should be. My dad's coming in, so I don't know that I'll do that next week. It is a wedding weekend for me next weekend. My niece is getting married, so my dad is actually traveling for the first time since last year. So y'all have fun. Thanks, Stephanie. I can't believe you're actually sitting in here today. My goodness, y'all must be slow at the store. You're at home. You just play, guys. Just play. Let me see here. Yeah, Lois, that was not what I would have expected to see either with the crosses. I truly wouldn't have thought that one. You know, you guys play with those motifs. They are actually more fun than most everything. I love my motifs. I love motifs and I love decorative fills because it's kind of fun. So y'all have I was going to try to get through to a little BES4 today, but that I spent too much time playing with motifs. Oops. What do I have for you today? So I have coupon codes for those of you that do not have the lettering book. Lettering So Easy for BES4. There's your coupon code. I kind of extended that one because Mother's Day I totally forgot about. I thought Mother's Day was coming this weekend. You know, it came early this year. That's not right. And your digitizing so easy coupon code is DIG10. So y'all have fun, play. Yes, I do love what I do, Shirley. I love playing with software. So, I mean, that's one of the things when your light bulb goes on, y'all were doing really good at today thinking outside of the box as to what you might want to use those motifs for and where could you do it. You had some great ideas, and all those ideas would work. So just think outside the box and play with it. Remember, it is one piece of string. You have to figure out how to connect that piece of string to where it will go from one side to the other without cutting across the center, unless you want it to cut across the center. I personally like it when they don't. So I kind of don't celebrate Mother's Day these days. I'm not a mom. Besides, I'm a dog mom. And my mother passed away. I did call the best mother that never had me, my stepmom, and wished her a happy Mother's Day, and my mother-in-law, and wished them a happy Mother's Day. But I truly forgot all about it. I basically am one of those people that skip it. It's not my day. So y'all have a great rest of the year, or excuse me, rest of the weekend. Oh my gosh, rest of the year. Yeah, I'll see you next year. No, I'm lying. That's not true. I'll see you next week. I'll see you on Tuesday. Y'all have a great rest of the week. Have a good weekend. Play with your software. And if you have questions, please be sure to post them for me. I'm glad you enjoyed the lesson today. I hope you all had great Mother's Days. If you're a mother, I hope you had a great Mother's Day. And if you still have your mother around, be sure and hug her and tell her you love her, because that, it's not, they're not always there. So I plan on having a blast at the wedding. And my husband's leaving this week. He's leaving tomorrow. House is all mine for the week. So I'll get some work done. So y'all have a good one. I will talk to you later. And like I said, please be sure and ask questions if you have any questions. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye.